About 30 seconds to a minute on each of these, and these were just to give me a basic idea of, you know, how are my values, how is my composition going to be masked on a larger scale. So going with this composition right now, I like some of the elements here in the foreground, how it's kind of framing everything else back in the midground and background. So I might want to take advantage of something like this, just as a compositional element to weight the foreground. But I'm anticipating that there's going to be lots of different changes on here. Just as the lighting changes, as the waves come in, there might be a cool opportunity to hit like a highlight in a certain spot. So I'm just trying to get all the groundwork in right now, and then I'll start painting all my masks on top of that. So I'm not going to be using all these colors actually. I set it up from warm to cool, so I have like my black is just like a color I use to really mix when I need to. I hardly ever use black, but usually I go from my darkest cool, so I'll usually have like a purple, blues, lighter blues towards green, and then this goes through the color wheel. But for the most part, I'll probably be using a lot of blue, and I'll be mixing my cool tones in here, and then possibly a little bit of the alizarin, maybe some orange to get mixed in with the rocks as a complementary. And I'll keep these split on both sides here, so cools, warms, and then these will be my my neutral mixes and highlights. So I'm going to take off my glasses so I can see a shittier version of real life. What this does is it does the same thing as squinting if you have good eyesight. So I'm just trying to simplify all the shapes that I'm seeing and focus mainly on the colors and the relationships of the values. So right now I'm going to start off with just a couple of really saturated washes. And the reason why I'm doing this is so I can have the most chroma in my colors from the start. I want to use the white of the canvas to reflect some of those really warm colors back at the eye. And it's going to be harder later on if I start adding layers and layers of gouache. So what that's going to do is it's going to mix all those colors together, and it's going to create a neutral, saturated tone, which is what I don't want. So again, this isn't going to be the final result, but it's going to give me a little bit of warmth and saturation underneath all the colors that I'll be adding on top. Basic wash right now for kind of my plan for these rocks, and now I'm just putting in a couple of colors to indicate some of the greens I'm seeing in the ocean right now. These are just placeholders. I'm going to be mixing back into my palette a little bit more to hone in on these colors, but so far I'm feeling pretty good with my start. Feeling pretty alright. Just like any other painting, it's not finished until you going too dark. I'll be going a little bit darker now into these rock shapes, give them a little bit more identity and volume. Alright, so this looks pretty dark, but it's not the darkest I can go. You can see how important it is to start off with light shapes with gouache, because this can screw you over in the future. You got really dark shapes and they're not the ones you want. You're going to be painting back into that, mixing in with those colors. It's just not going to be look, you didn't plan. Some of these shapes I just want to get in. There's just a couple of brush strokes. I just want to indicate them very simply. the composition and get some of these blues. I think having that to balance out all this massing is going to help. Put your highlights in, especially opaque highlights, because you don't want to blend back and forth in those areas later on, especially with gouache. So at this point, I'm going to start resolving all the other stuff in my painting, like in the foreground, maybe a little bit in the background, but most of this I want to keep this organic brushwork the way it is. So I'll probably start refining some of these shapes, figuring out the lighting, and making sure that the volumes read like they actually do in real life.